Hi, everyone. Welcome to episode 97 of the Unleash and Thrive podcast. I'm so excited today because it's a special edition. We just celebrated Mother's Day, and this edition is dedicated to all moms out there. And I have a special guest in the house. I have Temitope Falade Aderibigbe, the Mother's Haven Queen. Ooh. You're most welcome. You're welcome. I'm going to read her bio and then I'm going to get her to introduce herself informally beyond the bio. But let me just let you know who my guest is. So, Temitope Falade Aderibigbe is a personal growth trigger and ideator with a mission to help mothers evolve from a place of limitations into a realm of possibilities. I love that. She has great brainstorming and accountability skills, which positions her to effectively push mothers in her circle to scale up and go for their dreams. This expression is activated under Mothers Haven Network. She is also passionate about helping women build tech-powered systems that birth profitable ideas and social impact initiatives to ensure they make a difference and leave a legacy by building successful and rewarding organizations. Temitope is a pharmacist actively involved in providing excellent healthcare to pediatric and adolescent mothers, pediatric and adolescent living with HIV, and she's a wife and mother to two amazing queens. Please help me welcome my guest once again. You're most welcome, Ceci. You are most welcome. It's always a delight to have you. I've had you once. It's always a delight to have you on the podcast. I love you. So
Thank
excited to have you here. So I've read that amazing bio, but I wanted to just kind of tell us who is Temitope behind, you know, the scenes. Informally, who would you say you are?
Okay, thank you so much for the
You're
opportunity to
welcome.
be here. It's always a delight, an honor, a pleasure. Super excited, honestly, to be here with you. So Temitope behind the scenes, it's a woman who is highly passionate about helping women become who God has called them to be, helping women launch out regardless of their fears, their struggles, their limitations, and their mindset. And I'm somebody who actually loves to make sure that people get all the things that they desire for and that God has actually destined them to be. I love smiling a lot. I love smiling a lot. I'm I'm really, really excited to be here as an opportunity to also impact other lives and bless as many people as God gives me that. That's
Awesome.
it.
And that leads me to my next question, which I love to ask my guests to share two fun facts about you. So it might be something we know. I know you just shared one, you love smiling a lot, but now one that you haven't shared. So two fun facts.
Oh, okay. What I've not shared. I am thinking about me always smiling is I was able to rub it off on my second daughter. And I
Hmm.
think it's probably because when I was pregnant, one code that I used to go through that phase was no matter what anybody did or said that could actually trigger me to get angry, I would just laugh it out.
Hmm.
And then I was always laughing. And then by the time I had her, everybody just kept saying she laughs a lot. And she started
Wow.
laughing at one age. At one days, a baby should start laughing, but she started laughing really early. And everything, any little thing, she just chuckles. And I was actually glad to see that she's able to pass it on and she does it better than me anyway. But okay, a fun fact about me, not necessarily fun, but I think I am a borderline introvert and extrovert, depending on my season. So you can see me all excited, playing around, networking, meeting people, being the first to the vibe of the room. And at another time, I could be someone who just withdraws and gains my energy by being by myself. So it's dependent on my season and so basically I say I'm
Wow.
a borderline introvert and extrovert.
Wow. Wow, that's a very interesting one. I know when you have people that are introverts, they also have something that I believe, just like I said, the borderline. If you see them in their extroverted nature, you're like, is this the same person? But then as soon as they feel like, okay, I'm done, I need to withdraw, they just go, they're like a clam. And then you're wondering, where's the person? Wow, that's really that is a fun fact, very interesting fact about you. So
They,
today we're talking about an interesting, and just before we started, just before we came live, we're talking about, the joys of motherhood. So it's interesting, the things that happen in motherhood. And so today's topic really is, are there joys in motherhood? So that is, and I have a reason for asking that question, because I know motherhood can be a very daunting, it can be a daunting, I'm thinking of the word to use. I can't find that word, but it can be daunting, you know, to be a mom. Like you have this human being. Like I tell people that I remember when I brought my first son home, and when my husband and I were looking at him like, okay, what do we do? Like we actually have a real human being. This is not a doll. Like it kind of dawned on us that this is a real human being that we have to take care of this human being. Nothing must happen to him. And all of a sudden I was scared. Do I have what it takes to take care of this human being? Like, how am I going to do this? So motherhood can be like that. But motherhood also has joys. It has a lot of joys. So today we want to look at, are there joys in motherhood? And I think a great way to start would be to just kind of tell us, how has your journey of motherhood been? You have two amazing queens. So how has the journey been for you?
wow, that's a very long, very long story because I've had the story of motherhood, let me say twice, because it has been two different experiences, honestly. From my story, my first experience with motherhood was postpartum depression, like I shared before, and like I still share from time to time. And then coming out of that, coming out of a phase where I didn't want to carry my baby to a phase where I'm fully bonding with her and I'm enjoying the motherhood season. And then I enter into another phase where she begins to fall sick almost every month. I'm prepared in the hospital. I have to take permission off work, go to, until we're finally admitted and then it finally cleared up. And then I got a break and I began to enter into my personal growth season. I was like, oh yeah, this is good. I could be a mother and be much more. I can go back to my dreams because I had a very fast education. So I had always had this dream to be the youngest professor, own large industries and everything. I read pharmacy, so I had it all planned out. And then after I gave birth to my first, I just packed it like I'm not doing all of that again. I'll just go I where it leads me. And then I had a change of mindset, direction once again, and to start pursuing growth, pursuing purpose, and be who God has led me to be. And then that was really amazing until I got pregnant for my second. And why that was actually quite miraculous is because I am someone who has gone through PCOS, which is polycystic ovarian syndrome. And by science, I'm actually even supposed to experience secondary infertility, which means after my first, I'm supposed to actually go through a series of medical tests and everything before I'm able to conceive for a second baby. And despite that, I'd also already tried other family planning methods to make sure that I don't conceive because I still had the trauma of the postpartum depression.
First one.
Everything. So when you mention pregnancy, you mention baby, I'm like, no, I am pursuing my growth, I'm pursuing purpose, and I'm enjoying my life with them. So conceiving with another baby at that point led me straight into depression. Of course, I'm very passionate about knowledge. That's a nice way of saying I am actually I could be a knowledge addict, and that time I paid for really expensive courses and everything, and I was at the verge of finishing both courses when I started experiencing first trimester morning sickness, mine was so bad that I couldn't even see my laptop screen. Like, so I couldn't even do anything. I couldn't do anything, and and I wasn't as productive as I would. So I was not at that point. I was very angry and everything, and I just went into depression. I just cut off from everybody possible and went into my code or whatever. And miraculously, thank God for relationships, thank God for people that in one's life that are able to identify that something is wrong somewhere. Where is this person? Why are you not doing what you normally do? And that was how the leaders make inquiries, and I was able to come out of that phase. Coming out of that phase now brought me into my core purpose with mothers, because despite the fact that I talk about postpartum depression and everything and personal growth, I wasn't still ready to create a niche around mothers. Because I still say, I'm a very different kind of mother. I'm not the kind of mother that I would go out to an event and, I don't know if it's just a Nigerian thing. When they give you snacks and give you food, and then you be like, let me keep it for my kids.
For my children. You will eat you finish everything.
I don't think it that far. Not because I don't love them, or not because I don't want to take food.
But you have a life.
I have a life. Thank you. I came here.
You are a person.
Why must I start carrying things home again? Why? No.
Let me enjoy myself. I'm okay.
Enjoy myself. I don't want to start thinking of any extra things here and there. So, and those are some examples of how I can tend to actually really care for myself and still show up for them when I really need to. And so saying, okay, I want to start doing mothers or talking to mothers was something I ran away from for quite a while. But after that, it was a call to action that you really, really have to speak to mothers like you who are probably pursuing career, pursuing business, and at the end of the day, they now have to they probably withdraw or take a break from that to now care for their home. It doesn't come naturally for everybody. It is so people really have to learn to go through and understand what they need to do in their waiting season. I'll call it a waiting season because you are waiting, taking care of your work, taking care of the children before you now probably go back into the career space or whatever. So for some people, it's a natural transition. But for some others, they actually need help, they actually need guidance, they actually need resources, someone to handhold them, through that phase, such that they don't do it grudgingly or grumbly. And at the end of the day, they lose out on both sides because you would have a career and you won't actually be able to groom amazing kings, amazing queens, because you're not doing it from the overflow. You're doing it from compulsion. You're doing it from a place of task and responsibility. And that's actually what actually made me say, okay, let me sit into it and keep helping mothers on this journey. So basically, I think I've explained how I got to Mother's Day, but still, it's basically the summary of my own struggles, depression-wise, caring for children, and also working actively at the same time. But all in all, it's still a journey. We're still on the process. So yes, that's the story.
Thanks for sharing that. And I remember just before we came up, we were talking about that there are various seasons as well. Because it's interesting that with motherhood, there's seasons, there are times whereby it seems that when they're little, you almost feel like, is this season ever going to pass? Like, are they going to grow older? But then some of us that are children are older, we know that actually those seasons pass. Those seasons will go past, and then you will look back and you're like, oh, how did we survive that season? And then you even see things that you enjoyed in that season. But I would tell you, if we're not careful, we end up just going through the mundane, like just wanting the time to pass. and then we miss out on what we should enjoy in that season. So for you, what would you say? I know that your queens they're really little, but what would you say are the things that you enjoy most? Like your favorite things about your favorite joy of of being a mom. What are your favorite things about motherhood?
I didn't get that.
Oh, okay, I was saying that for you, what would be like your favorite thing or what you enjoy most about being a mom?
Wow.
Now I'm making you think.
Yes, it kind of makes me think because it's always a mix for me. Like once I'm enjoying the whole motherhood thing, and then they come, there's this demand that will just come again, and I was like, oh yeah. But really, I always say anytime I'm asked this question, the number one thing I always say is I always treasure the times I get to hold them tight to myself. Like that physical contact. It further helps me to bond them and further reminds me of my journey, my efforts, my investment. I was probably say my investment in them. All the emotions and everything, because there's something I learned from Parenting Academy, like you should try spending 1 minute hugging your child. You would realize how long 1 minute can be sometimes.
Yeah.
And then it helps them. So for me, it's spending time with them actually is actually my most enjoyable moment. Once I'm able to spend time, I'm not thinking of any other thing. It gives me so, and also watching them grow. It's always amazing. Like they're small, like yes, that's always so. I'm always so wowed. And when they start making conversations, like my first is 4, and she's saying this, and I'm like, oh really? Oh okay. So that I enjoyed that as well. I enjoyed that.
Thanks for sharing that. So just like we said, the joys are there, but then the challenges are there. So for you, how easy has it been to maneuver, working with parenting? So being a mom and being a career mom, I almost would say. So you have the home, but you still have to go to work. How has that challenge been? How easy has it been for you to navigate that?
Okay, how challenging has that been? Honestly, it has cost me my arm, my leg, my kidneys.
It's cost you a lot. Your arm, your leg.
My fine girl. Okay, anyways, seriously speaking now, it has been a demand on the things that are actually very important. How will I put it? So career is one thing that I derive a sense of fulfillment from, because I'm able to show up, I'm able to provide support, I'm able to provide care, and people are able to get value, their lives are able to experience a form of change health-wise, and they are better for it. And then showing up in the home as well for those children that I have brought to the world is also a responsibility that God has placed in my heart, or that God has placed in my hand, and given the opportunity to actually execute. Now, when the two come together, sometimes one suffers for the other. Like I said, when my first wasn't feeling fine, I'll have to take permission off work to spend my care for them. And there are times because I work in a target-driven organization, so when the target is really high, when they start seeing that we really need to push, you see me bringing work home, which I always do not do, and spending long hours working on my laptop and, you know, prioritizing work at that point in time. So I keep saying that I really don't say there's a balance. I rather go with the integration part. So
Mm.
integrate one into the other. So it's like having two balls that you're carrying. So it's like, which ball do I want to play with today? Which one? So
I like that analogy.
that's actually how I do it. Which ball needs me more at this time? So if my family needs me more, I give it that extra attention. If it's work, I speak with family. Please, I have a pressing emergency. I would need to focus on this. And then everybody turn around and gives the support. Like I was saying, my 4-year-old asks me, "Are you in a meeting?" I'm like, "Yes, yes, yes. Please, I'm in a meeting. Once I'm done, I'll be with you." And because she trusts that once I'm actually done, I will devote that time to play with her and actually play with her. So that's the thing. I don't even lie. I don't try to polish things with her. I tell her things as it is, such that
Because she's 4, so she
or
believes you. Yeah.
and she actually holds on to those things that
Mm-hmm.
you say. So you say, once you're done, you play with me. Then once you're done, we play.
Once you are done, you cannot say something else came up again. Another meeting. No, mommy.
have to show up regardless of how tired you are. You have to
Mm,
show them and be present. So,
yeah.
but one thing that I actually am now trying to incorporate is rest. So I realized that I show up for career, I show up for Mother's Haven, I show up for my own family. But then when it comes to me, I put myself last. So if
Like
there's
we always
extra
do.
time, I come in. But now I'm learning to
Yeah.
rest, play. I learned the play part essentially. Yeah,
So important.
so I learned to rest and to play because it's actually what's the fuel burning. If there's nothing replenishing that energy for me to keep firing and keep going, I really won't be able to play. So if I have to take leave from work, let me take leave from work and just stay at home and sleep if that's what it costs me, technically. But yes, it will definitely cost you something. It will cost you lesser sleep sometimes. You don't sleep, if you sleep 7 hours, you have to sleep 6 hours. In short, when breastfeeding is even
Oh, it's
lower,
even harder. Yeah,
it's
because
even
you when breastfeeding, you have to go with their flow. You need
ex-
yours.
exactly. So, like you said, it's the process. So,
Yeah.
something that I keep reminding myself. I keep counting down. Yoruba will say, "Suru to lojo." It's patience that has a date. So when I was doing exclusive breastfeeding, I already had the dates in mind and I was counting down three
Wow.
months, two
And
months, and three.
it gives you when you have that focus, you get excited that okay, it's only 3 months that is left.
Honestly, because it was another phase entirely. I had I had to eat, carry my water bottle, everything, milk enhancing, everything, because work was also very stressful.
Yeah.
And once your lactation is going to be
Yeah.
just drop down. So I
Mm-hmm.
have to get all that things that I could do and also try to sleep. Because when I'm not sleeping, it's worse. So I won't sleep. Maybe we don't sleep. Everybody is just cranky. So some of those things that I needed to, and then I needed to eat well as well and eat right. So those things actually help balance or help integrate better. So once you have a healthy body, you have a healthy spirit, and you ask for help, I always ask for
I
help.
was going to ask you about that, but it's good that you mentioned it. That support system, that asking for help.
That support system, God has really blessed me with that one. I really always say. And when I even talk to other moms, I always say if you don't have a support system and you quote and unquote cannot create one, because to an extent you just have to be creative
Yeah.
around how to support that you want to get. And it's peculiar to your environment, it's peculiar to your season as well.
Yeah.
Creative. And if you still cannot, you have to pace yourself.
Mm.
You have to pace yourself. You can't do everything you used to do. So you have the one that is most priority to you, and then face it and roll with it. So I think that's another thing you can do. Go for the most thing that you know is of most value to you, most particular to you, and then roll with it.
Wow. Thank you so much. In fact, there were some questions I was going to ask that I don't even need to ask because you were just giving us all the answers. Thank you for speaking about support. Thank you for speaking about your experience, because I find that for moms, people often love to hear what somebody else says, so that way they kind of feel like, okay, I'm not the only one that is going through this way. So I'm not the only one that this happens to. Is okay. Other people also feel it. So, like you were saying, there are joys, but there are also challenges. That's the truth of it. And thank you for sharing some of the things that have helped you. And I love that when you shared about whatever is more, juggling which ball would I will play with now. That's a great way. So whatever is most important in quotes, as in if work needs me, then family would have, at least they would know there'll be communication. And if it's vice versa, the same way, like when your daughter was not feeling well, same thing. Because often a lot of moms it's so easy to get overwhelmed by everything going on here. And this could be someone, it could be a career mom, it could be a stay-at-home mom, it could be, whatever mom you are a mom. That's the bottom line of it. Even people that even stay at home moms, like they don't even have a break. It's like 24/7. You are always on the go. And so another thing I wanted us to just talk about is now you're not just a mom, but you've created a whole, I want to say a whole pool of resources for moms. So I know this came out of your, things that you went through, and then you're thinking now, okay, I want to be able to help other moms. So can you tell us a little bit more about the Mothers Haven network and how moms can actually, I know some of these are digital, some of these are virtual resources, some of these are in-person resources, but just kind of walk us, take us on that journey.
Okay, thank you so much. Okay, so basically, it started from me writing an ebook on the 7 biggest mistakes that
I love that
make.
If you haven't got it, get your copy.
It started for me writing the book about the 7 biggest mistakes that moms make, and I began to realize that there were so many. So for every mistake, there had to be something that you need to do to correct that mistake, and that's even if you're conscious about it. And then I began to say, okay, how can I support moms to do this? And like I said, you have to be conscious about it. So how do you know that, okay, you are actually doing this wrong, or you are not even aware that this is an issue or it's a potential issue? So then I went on to do like an assessment, created an assessment specifically for mothers to assess their pastoral growth. Because most of the time we get into different growth processes. So it may actually be career growth, it might actually be in your business, it might even actually be something, maybe in church. You may have taken up a church role, a ministry, yes, a ministry assignment. You may have advanced somewhere in some place at some point, and then you're not aware that there are some gaps that you need to fill. There are some strength urges that you need to. You're supposed to pick up your child, you don't remember to tell the person the time. Yes, because probably the person just always goes by 4, and then remember they told you that school closes 2 today because of whatever that came up, and then you totally forgot because you were engrossed in career. So basically it means that there's a structure gap somewhere. So that's just an example. There are some other minute little things that grow up and become a mighty ocean. Another thing I mentioned in the book is neglecting self-care. I realized that, just like I mentioned, that even me myself, I realized that I have to do more with that. Because why? I am doing more. I'm using more power. So whatever self-care I was doing before is not now sufficient anymore.
Mm.
So that's why I said for every growth or advancement you take on, you actually have to look at your life all around and say, okay, what are the other areas that are not solid enough to carry this current advancement? And you need to make sure that you get that part sorted. Some of those areas could be your emotions. It could be that you allow feedback from people get to you a lot. You are very cautious about what people will say about whatever is going on in your life, or you don't handle rejections very easily. And probably the task that you're taking on is one that comes with a lot of rejections. Probably you're preparing proposals every day, and your new boss is saying, what is all of this? And that alone can actually just make you to give up and say you're not doing it anymore. Those are things, little things here and there that you may need to build up. So the assessment, we have the Mother's Haven assessment that you can actually take. It will point you in direction. It's percentage scored on each of the pillars. So you have pillars on how you're using technology, how you're doing well with your career, how you're doing well with your emotions, how you're doing well with your finance, because finance is very key for mothers. Some moms are highly dependent on their spouses. Some moms are comfortable with where they are, but do not realize that they also need to build wealth. Both of you can be high flyers. Both of you, even as a stay-at-home mom, you can, if it's something that you find convenient. Don't let me use the word convenient, because these things are not actually convenient.
Nothing is convenient.
It's never convenient, but it's something that you're called to do, or you believe you can pick it up, have an extra source of income. It doesn't hurt you. And then just go for it. So those are some of the things that it assesses you on, and then you can download, okay, based on my results, this is the next pillar that I want to hold on to. Okay, I want to work on my finance in the next quarter, and then you face it squarely. So basically, it will now take you to what we call the Mother's Haven Growth Hub, where you can access quick links that can direct you. Okay, these are some of the things that you can do with respect to this. And then finally, if you've gotten to a position where you actually have a message, you have an expression that you want to undertake, you have something in your heart that you want to share with other people, you have a burden in your heart, you have something that you have gone through, and you feel if you share, you'll be able to bless other people with, and then you want to go visible with your message. That's another place where I prefer support, I prefer accountability, and I can also help you with the tech around it. To you want to do a webinar, for example, like that's one product we recently launched. So you want to host the webinar. You don't need to stress yourself around, okay, how do I get the flyer? How do I get speakers? How do I do Zoom? There are a lot of moving parts when it comes to all of these things. How do I sort out my social media? What do I do with this? How do I arrange it? Which do I do first? Mother's Haven comes into the picture, listens to you, clarify all of those things, and then we also support you to be able to launch out. So basically, we start from the scratch, which is the mistakes that you're making, and then we land you to a point, or we take you to a point where you are able to go out there and even tell others how you have corrected that mistake, and they can even learn from it. So at the end of the day, your mistake is now what is also helping others not to repeat that same thing. And that way we are replicating that knowledge, and we are reaching more mothers like that. So making one mother visible helps us to reach 100, 8,000 more mothers. So that's the goal right now.
Wow, that's wonderful. How can people find out more about the Mother's Haven network, the resources, and all that is available?
Yeah.
I can. How can people get access to the resources?
Okay, so basically you can find me on Instagram at Mother's Haven Network. So we'll have the link in bio, but also okay. So for now on LinkedIn, you have use Temitope Falade Aderibigbe. You can also reach me on LinkedIn. Then you could also go to for now you could do bit.ly/creator support. So that's where you can get the help with the webinar support, and then also www.mothershavenetwork.com.
Okay.
That's yes.
So at least that way, because I'm thinking somebody's watching this and they're thinking, oh, this is really interesting. I want to find out more. I want to, and then sometimes maybe they want to have is a moment if you want to have a webinar, and then that's when she does suddenly remember that she listened to one podcast at one time, and one lady said she was like, okay, let me go and find out more so that at least I can use their services. So I wanted you to just share with us. So you have shared a lot with us. You shared a lot. But as we wrap this up, I want you to just, what word of encouragement would you have for a new mom who is just starting this journey of motherhood? Who was where you were just a couple of years ago? What word would you have for them? A word of encouragement, I should say.
Wow, a new mom.
It brings back memories.
It does actually. It does. It does. Just like you said, like it dawned on me that wow, because I'm the last born of the house, and I will have a baby of the house, and now a baby has the baby.
That's
the baby
life.
has the baby, and it was a lot. It was a lot because I'm someone who I don't like stress in my life.
Of course,
And
even being the baby of the house, you won't like stress because everybody will be pampering you. So you don't even
everybody
need to be stressed.
so I'm like, oh wow, like I've bought work or I've gotten work, because that's how I always used to see things. So once something is going to task me, I'll say, it brought work to me, or it brought work to my people. But for a new mom, I would say it's a process, but it doesn't look like it now. It will never look like it right now. It will look like an ever-ending ocean that you have been putting into the center to care for. And thanks to hormones, thanks to emotions, thanks to how God created us, there are times that you feel all fly, and that motherhood euphoria. I would say enjoy it as much as you can. Sap as much energy as you can from it. Remember that feeling, and then it will also help you when you're feeling very challenged. Secondly, I would say, I know it's difficult. I know people always say it. I know it doesn't. It sometimes is not realistic, but you still have to try. You need to sleep as much as you can.
Amplify it.
I know it's difficult. It's coming from me. I don't know how to sleep in the afternoon, but I had to learn.
To learn it.
I had to learn. Either I sleep in the afternoon or I sleep early when everybody's still awake, maybe around that 7, 8, I'll quickly just go and try and sleep. And such that at night I am not nagging, I'm able to breastfeed and do whatever I need to do. So you have to rest, you have to sleep. Number 3, you have to ask for help. Disturb. Don't say I don't want to disturb.
I don't want to disturb
the way, because if a human being disturbs you for 9 months, baby do not send you. But we need to use it that way. So please, if you have people around you, you have people from the church, you have people from your workplace, you have family members around that you trust, please, there's no need trying to be a superhero. I always say, rest, take advantage, ask them anything you want. You are also a baby girl. Don't Don't get carried away with the fact that okay, they brought gifts for the baby and they didn't bring gifts for you. Carry carry money, give somebody to go and buy gifts
Come
for
back.
yourself. It's the truth. Tell
It's
them
the
what you
truth.
want. Go to
It's
your
true.
savings. Literally, go to your savings. You've done awesomely well. They brought out a life from your
Mm,
body. You deserve anything that you desire
mm,
at that point that you can afford. To carry money, nobody bought a gift for you. Carry money. If you can't go out at the time, send somebody to go out there and get that thing for you. Especially something that you can always see and
yeah.
just put it somewhere. And when you look at it, even if it's a frame, whatever it is that you like,
Mm,
that can always be there as a reminder that you have done well. If you just
mm.
think of what you've done well, you have tried. There's
Yes,
really
sir.
not any other mother will do that you have not done. That's what I always just say to calm
So
myself
true.
down.
It's
There's
true.
really not any other person can do that I have
And you
not
have
done.
not done. Yeah.
Relax. You've done
Mm,
your best. Allow God take over. So I think that
mm. Wow.
that's you do awesome. You do awesome. Always leave the children into the hands of God. Like I learned from my mentor. She says she establishes a covenant with God with her children, and
Mm-hmm.
then let the angels and let the angels take care of them,
Yeah.
and then nothing would harm them and everything. So trust God. I still
Mm.
say it for myself
It's
also,
true. It's
that
true.
the angels that are taking care of these girls, they don't sleep. They are
Mm.
constantly on assignment.
Yeah.
Because the way she started, 8 months baby that is climbing chair. I'm like, what's going on here? I
Like,
was
how possible is that?
honestly, because I'm like, how? Like she literally her cord, she literally raising up her leg to climb over the cord.
Wow.
And I'm like, this generation, I
And
thought
she's 8 months.
just trust
Wow.
them into the hands of God, and
Yeah.
you always prove themselves strong. So that's my advice for
Wow.
them.
I love that. I love the way you finish that. And truly, because even as they get older, you find that there's only as much as you've done. But I always say that as well. Once you've played your part, God's part is the biggest part. There are so many places that we can never go with them. You take them to school, you leave them there, you go back home. It's God that is with them there. And throughout till they get older, even when they get into college and they go into even into life, you can't be with them all the time, but God can always be with them. So once we've played our part, we've committed them to God's hands, we prayed over them, then we have to release them and trust that God will take care of them. Wow, thank you so much, so much, so much, so much. Thank you for that episode. And I'll put all the details in the show notes so people can know where to find you on LinkedIn, where to find you on IG, and all the Mother's Haven details. So that at least somebody watching this, even if you're watching the replay 6 months from now, you'll be able to pick up tips from here. Once again, I want to say thank you so much, sis. Thank you so much for for coming on this episode. It's been an absolute delight again, just having you. I've enjoyed the conversation.
I know, same here. Like you should just be here and continue.
I know we can just keep going on and on and on. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. And I love to the beautiful queens. Thank you. And your husband who let you, do this at 90 at this
Yes,
time.
so
When
okay.
we're recording this episode.
You
Thank
told me
God
telling thank
for
you
the
so much. Yes, he has been immensely
mm,
supportive. Honestly, it's like
yeah,
whatever you want to do, just go ahead and do it. And I
mm,
think that is actually one of the major secrets of why I'm able to do the things that I do.
yeah, because
Just
of that support.
actually, yes, it supports me. Times when I have to like come in here, do podcasts like this, is able to just take charge and like, okay, don't worry, I'll take care of the kids and everything. So
Mm,
that's really, really very important, especially for anybody who's still trusting. For adventure is single watching this, it's very, very important
yeah,
that you marry somebody who is able to support your goals, support your
yeah,
dreams, is able to father your children in
yeah.
a way that allows you to.
Mm,
Yes, family is one of the major support any mother needs. So she needs to be able to communicate the help that she needs, and she's also able to be there for them such that they trust that the fact that she's pursuing the fact that you're pursuing your dreams, you're pursuing your goals, it doesn't affect them at the same time. Once they know that you will always be there for them, they will always be there for you. And it always works each time. Wow. Thank you.
You're most welcome. Thank you. So everyone, thanks for being with us. Thanks for enjoying this episode. I'll see you again next time. Bye, everyone. Bye.